Look, folks, when you're running such an operation as this, that is operated and prayerfully kept together by string, tin can, and cheap surplus Ukrainian equipment, and when you're running multiple different people, you got to allow for a few minutes to go past the time of the start because you just never know what you got to work out. But we're here. We may be late. We may be gay. We may be late and gay, but we are here. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a very special presentation tonight where the Front Porch Conservative are going to be covering Donald Trump's speech to the UAW in Detroit, Michigan. This is going to be a really fun night. I'm glad you're here. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your Front Porch Conservative. We're going to start bringing all of our panelists in here in just 1 second. And in the meanwhile, grab yourself a cup of coffee or a glass of an adult beverage of whatever kind that may be, ready to enjoy yourselves. Because we're going to enjoy ourselves as I slowly and surely and hopefully non-boomeringly bring in all my guests. We will start this party, as always, with the inestimable Reuben Christopher Haynes. Reuben, welcome tonight. How are you, sir?
Very well, very. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm looking forward to this speech and doing the analysis and seeing what's going on here. Much better than the secondary debate.
Yeah, that's a verbal food fight that I don't think, unless you've really got a desire to watch that, which God bless you if you do. Not saying you're wrong, but just, there you go. All right, now we're going to bring the one designated hen into the rooster's den or house or however you want to call it. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce you to one of the coolest people on the internet who's running one of the best channels out there. If you're not subscribed to her, you definitely need to do so. Miss Tracy from Keto Krime. Tracy, how you doing tonight? Cannot hear you, my dear. You're muted.
Because I'm a mute. How is everyone?
Very well.
I'm groovy. I've been kind of jonesing for this event to happen for quite some time now. And Tracy, I think this is the first time I've ever had you on my channel. So welcome. We're glad to have you, dear. Like I say, you're classing up the joint considering who you're working with tonight. So we're definitely glad you're here.
Oh no, I'm total redneck. I'd bring no class to any situation.
Well, speaking of class, suave, and sophistication, may I bring in our next guest? He's been here before. He's always welcome on the front porch. We're glad to have him. Cam from Flagrant Triggers. How are you this evening, sir?
Definitely gay. Certainly.
There you go.
We will. For everyone who doesn't know,
that's the cool part.
Is everybody gay but Brian?
I think so. Brian's definitely too much of a crooner to ever get close to that, I think.
Well, and our final guest, speaking of wonderful people who are absolutely welcome here. Don't throw your hands up back there backstage, you diva. Brentley from Dangerous Rhetoric.
I was doing that because I was like, of course, I'm like the other faggot. Like,
oh, will you stop it?
I didn't realize it was a whole bunch of gays and Brian.
Well, look, I believe in diversity.
You are such a heterosexual fruit fly.
I believe in diversity on my channel. Okay,
Diversity, girl. You're the only heterosexual here.
He's like a penis flytrap.
I have lost control of this live stream. We haven't even really got this thing started yet.
I'm sorry. Hi,
bag it, dyke.
Oh, dear Lord.
Wait, what? Are we on YouTube or Rumble?
We're on both.
Oh, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Well, look, guys, you know my rules. You can say anything you want on my channel. I don't care.
They don't like the F slur on YouTube.
Well, let the bastards get over it. They,
Awful assumptuous of them to think I haven't had a wiener in my mouth.
Rude.
Well, alrighty then. Okay. So we are gathered together this night to talk about what were we talking about? Oh yeah, that's right, the speech in Detroit. We've got a little bit of time before we go on. I'm thinking about 28 minutes before officially this thing is supposed to start, but it's Trump, so I'm not exactly holding him to 8 o'clock. So first of all, how is everybody doing? Let's go around the horn. Cam, I want to take a moment and talk about something that's going on with your channel and with your business. For those of you who do not know Cam, if you're being introduced to him for the first time, he is the proprietor of Flagrant Triggers, which is not only a fantastic YouTube channel full of good commentary with he and his partner Crash Mondo. He is also probably one of the coolest designers of the best quality t-shirts you will ever come across. And his company has gone through a patch and is now on its way back. And in part, that is due to a campaign that they are launching. And with that, Cam, I'm going to hand it over to you. Tell us all about it. Tell people how they can help you in this campaign, what they can do to support.
Yeah, so we did go through a patch. Long story short, our third-party producer started crapping out on us and stopped fulfilling orders, and I got tired of it because it was ruining my relations with not only my customers but the clients too. So I put it on pause, and I've been trying to get my own machinery so I can do direct order stuff for the customers and do the prints and presses and everything myself. So we spent a good chunk of money. We got our own machine. Got confirmation today that it is being shipped to Crash right now, and when it gets to his house, he's going to send it. He's going to come up here, and then we're going to start getting everything rolling again. As far as the campaign, we've got a couple of different tiers. We're going to be delving into some new stuff as well, aside from just threads. Did a lot of AI art that looks pretty neat for the shirts, but we're also going to introduce mugs, and we're going to experiment with steel plate presses like disc plate. So we've got some pretty good packages on there. They go from $5, and I think the highest one is 1,000. And we don't expect people to go crazy like that. But we've tried to make it to where people have access to lifetime discounts at the lower tiers as well. I think the $45 one starts at 5%, and then it goes up from there. I think the highest one is 30%, and that is a lifetime discount on all items through the whole store. So we are trying to make sure that it is worth your while if you get one of the packages. But it's to help us kind of recoup a little bit, try to keep our feet from getting too wet as we stomp through and head out on the resurgence. And dude, we're gonna have a lot of fun with it, and we're gonna do some experimenting. I've got a couple of other people I'm talking to that are interested in getting on, so we'll have some more access for some more creators too. So really looking forward to it.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. If you want to throw me something in private chat, as far as a link, I'll run a banner across the bottom of the screen. And if people are wanting to see what's going on or try and help out, I'll be happy to do it. And we have this is not on him, but daggone it, I should have invited him to this. And Welsh, I owe you one. Let me tell you, Welsh Republic Podcast. If you are not subscribed to this dude's channel, you need to do it, because I tell you what, this is probably one of the best interviewers on the internet. This guy is absolutely amazing. Check him out. Welsh, I owe you one, buddy. The next time I'm doing this, you're getting the invite. So, and given where you are located in the world, if you can't do it, that's cool, and I understand. But it's only because of that reason why I may not have invited you. So nothing else. So just want you to know I love you, and you are definitely welcome here anytime you want to be here, dude. Now, that said, let's take it around the horn. Brentley, what the hell are you up to these days?
I have been out on Fire Island helping my buddy manage a couple of rental properties out here. And that's why the show has kind of like slowed down. Daniel and I got out of the New York apartment, and he's sort of getting resettled in New Jersey, and I've been here, and we've just been having like event after event after event, like people coming and going all the time, like nonstop laundry. So I've been doing like life stuff, and I haven't been online nearly as much as I used to be when I was in New York, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we got I'm going to have Josh Slocum and Harrison Cayley on the next episode, I think, and just trying to get the timing down. Probably going to record this weekend and have it up by Sunday if I can. But we're going to talk about the Christopher Rufo video where he did Cluster B Society and get into that a little bit. Josh's like whole thesis with the show is the impact of cluster B personality disorders on the macro social sort of societal level. And Harrison sort of helped. He edited the book that was written basically on how that happens in it's called Political Ponerology by this guy Andrew Lobachevsky, and he wrote all about how societies basically turn from normal peaceful societies into totalitarian nightmares, and he studied it by living through it in Poland during the Nazi and subsequent communist takeover of that country in the mid 20th century. So yeah, he wrote that book, Political Ponerology, and then Harrison edited it. So Harrison's like really familiar with it. So I wanted to get the two of them on the show at the same time, talking about pathological personalities, because it's really starting to fucking catch on in like the zeitgeist that like pathological leaders are a big part of the problem with humanity for the last like 2,000 years, or probably the entire history, really. And we're finally, with the internet, we have the capability to talk about it, increase awareness of it, and then therefore sort of like inoculate people from being succumbing to their shenanigans or manipulations. So
Okay.
that's what I'm on right now.
Very good, and looking forward to all of that. Now, let me tell you something. This lady up in the upper right-hand corner, aside from being one class act, is definitely one of the best movie reviewers out there on the net. I ought to know. I've now had the chance to participate with Brentley on a couple of streams with her, and let me tell you, she says she's redneck. I say she's class redneck. So, Miss Tracy, for people who, well, now what? Now, how else am I supposed to address the lady? I mean, shall I just call her a redneck? That seems kind of undignified. I mean, so we're going to say class redneck, But Tracy, tell people, if for folks who are watching this stream that may not be familiar with you or your channel, tell people about yourself and, what's going on with your channel these days. What's going on with you?
Oh, well, thank you so much, Brian, and it's really great to be here. It's my first time on your channel. I love your channel. I've said it. I think you're one of the best political commentators on the interwebs. As Brian said, I don't do anything really thought provoking or deep on my on my channel. I'm purely to entertain. I do horror and sci-fi movie and TV show reviews. I also do true crime and dark history. The bad things in history that no one wants to talk about. I go over all of that. I am doing content like a crazy woman right now because I'm going into the course of 31 days of a keto wean, as I like to call them. And we are, I'm pumping out content right and left, or working on content. Right now I'm knee deep in a deep dive on secret societies, which is really, really fun. And I am working on a series covering the in my opinion, one of the best horror franchises out there, the Purge franchise, with Brentley and Brian. They are going to be joining me over the course of October, and we're going to go over every single one of those movies. And I am a total nerd, and I am just glad to be here, and that anybody wants to watch my channel.
Mr. Daniel De La Fay, we are glad to have you here, sir, tonight. I mean, Tracy's channel is a lot of fun. I've gotten to participate with these things. I am definitely no Siskel, nor am I an Ebert. But for some reason, she keeps asking me to come back. I have no idea why. I think she just believes in suffering immensely by having, no class talent show up on her channel and just like stumble through the door or some such nonsense. I have no idea why she has me there. But
maybe I got a hetero crush on you, Brian.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Woo. Woo. Now you're going to get me all hot and bothered over here. Crap. Now I got to keep this camera on. How dare you, woman? Oh, Lord have mercy. We've so lost
I'm not sure what
control
that's
of this
means
thing.
for Brentley. I have
No, I'm just entertained, girl. I'm just having a good time.
And speaking of a good time, this brings us to my partner in crime, the Keith Richards to my Mick Jagger. Oh God, what an analogy that is! Yeah.
That's kind of bad.
It's bad all the way around. I mean, I could have called you Jagger, and I could have been Richards.
Well, it is true. Well, there is one rumor out there. Whenever I talk to anybody I used to know in the past, they said you never get old. So never mind. I know I'm going to live forever.
Well, keep in mind, Keith Richards is one of those few people on planet Earth. He and Willie Nelson. I think that if the nuclear holocaust happens, there are three forms of life that will survive: cockroaches, Willie Nelson, and Keith Richards. It doesn't matter. They're so well preserved after all these years. Nothing's going to take these dudes out. So, But that said, Reuben, tell everybody about your channels. Tell everybody about yourself. And then after that, we'll take a few minutes, dive into some like pre-speech commentary. So let's go.
Well, I just really quickly, my name is Reuben Christopher Haynes, and I basically call myself the John Hancock of YouTube and the internet because I use my real name. Because the point being here is that I stand up, and I firmly stand up for my entire life against silliness. And this silliness started in 2020. I've been politically active my entire life. I've leaned more conservative, but that's me. I want to do whatever I want to do, and anybody else can be happy and do whatever you want. That's the whole point. I've never been one to demand. I've had my career in technology. I'm still doing that, but I've been sick for the last now going on 10 years now with autoimmune conditions, and I've been fighting them back naturally and using cannabis, other materials that are just from the earth to me to make myself heal up. And I've just in the last year, I've dropped 200 pounds. Because again, they wanted to rip out these tumors. And I said, no, I'll just work them off and exercise them off. And it's been a rough road, but I've done it. So what I've been doing now for the last year is looking for a place to live, looking for a place to start over, because I've lost my entire family, business, everything like that, because this illness really hurt me hard. But I'm building it back. So right now I'm working on exposing AI for what it really is, exposing everything on my channels. I have my Conjecture channel, which is on Substack, on YouTube as well. And I have channels on Rumble, which I'll do my Rumble rants there, because again, I've been banned on Twitter many times, but not of yet. But 2024 is a different game. But I'm now here not to just complain, but to put policy into action of what we need to do. So that's my main focus now for the next 50 years of my life. I just want to basically, next to 50 years, the best years. And it starts with people standing up and saying no more. And again, taking that whole aspect of conservatism, it's about me, out to the world, and making sure people come together and let's talk and make a difference that'll improve the lives of people around the world.
Well, thank you, sir, and every one of you. I first, as sort of the host of this little soiree, I want to thank each of you for being here tonight. I mean, I know there are a lot of other things you could be doing. I mean, everybody's got lives, they've got family, they got everything else, and the fact that we're here sitting together, discussing things, issues of life, issues of what's going on in the world, is very grateful to me. I consider each of you, and I'm not sucking up with this line, I genuinely mean it. Each of you are very smart, very insightful, extraordinarily articulate, and it's a pleasure to have you guys on here. Cam was kicking around an idea, and should we do a little flagrant hello? Okay, hang on. Yeah, this is my non-professional. I'm reading a thing. Yeah, we'll say hello, hi. If you want to. Is little fragrant there? Can we say hello to her? Is that okay?
Your mic's muted, Cam.
Yeah. Hold on one sec.
Oh, okay.
She's getting some more of Dad's delicious chicken that he made earlier.
Ooh.
Yeah. If anything, I do cook very well for her.
Yeah. Which, by the way, among his other talents, he's a superb chef. Oh, here she comes.
Aww.
Hang on.
Hang
on.
Hi.
Hello.
Let me see if I can. Yes. Hello. How are you? Glad to see you. Say hi to everybody. Hey, dear. How are you tonight?
No.
No.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Good.
Cool.
What you drinking?
I'm not drinking anything.
Oh, what's that?
Okay.
She's scooping out shaved ice or something.
It's frozen lemonade.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sounds
you cannot
good.
go wrong with a frozen lemonade.
That is
That's
good.
good stuff. So are you keeping Dad out of trouble? Okay, you are keeping Dad out of trouble. All righty then. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's the secret to his success right there. She's keeping him out of trouble, and believe me, that's a job. Dad's like, give me back those headphones real quick.
Yeah, before she gets me in trouble.
Oh my.
How old is she, Cam?
How old are you?
8 years old.
She's
8.
8. Oh my goodness. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
She's a little smart too, so. But
Well. No. and modest about it too. There you go.
oh yeah, she's absolutely modest.
I get all S's.
Nice.
Very nice. Very
Those are better
nice.
than A's.
Absolutely.
She's
They
not
stand
too
for
challenged
superb.
right now, 'cause she did a 2-3 hybrid last year,
Mm-hmm.
and she's already all the 3rd grade stuff this year. So.
Nice.
Sweet.
All right.
How's
Very
her
good.
school?
Yeah.
She enjoys it this year. She got a good teacher.
I like it better than last year.
That's good. They're not crazy woke.
All right, let me get her a spoon and I shall return.
That's perfectly fine. We'll start a little bit of a discussion here. So there's two competing events tonight, and I know that there are going to be people out there that will lay the criticism at my feet. It's like, why don't you want to cover the Republican debate? Well, I'll tell you why. Number one,
Snooze.
yeah, exactly. That's one reason. It's a snooze. Number two, it's a verbal food fight. I mean, how can you have a substantive discussion of real issues when one person's got 30 seconds to say something and another guy's got 20 seconds to rebut? The person's trying to figure out how to take the other 10 seconds and get in some kind of a zinger line that hopefully is going to get them on TV. You know, and frankly, you know, when you take the following into account, let me pull this up real fast. If my okay, there goes the cheap surplus Ukrainian equipment. Yeah. See, Brentley, here you thought that, you know, you're just going to come on here and all we're going to see is your pretty face. No, we're not. We're going to do charts and graphs and all kinds of cool crap.
Wow.
I know. Who'd have thunk it?
So advanced. Love it.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like I said, I am operating a string and tin can operation here, dude. I mean, really.
I know what that's like.
Look, when you're buying equipment at a yard sale from a Ukrainian guy named Vladimir, it ought to tell you everything y'all know about what may or may not happen on your channel. I'm just saying. But to get back to more serious, I mean, when you got a guy with a 42-point lead on the field, you know, it's kind of like, why are we watching the Seven Dwarfs? So that's part of it. And like I said, the other part of it is they're not going to say anything substantive. Now, that gets to the other competing event tonight. And that's, oh, crap. Hang on. Boomer. I told you guys it was going to happen. It's string and tin cans. But the other competing event, which is Trump's speech in Detroit to members of the UAW. And for my part, and I'll be glad to take your all's commentary on this, I thought it was probably one of the most tactically brilliant things I'd seen done in a while in a campaign. Because it's like, okay, the only reason that Rupert Murdoch wants me to show up at this debate is for ratings. So I don't like the guy. If I'm Trump, I don't like the guy anyway. He's using me. So why shouldn't I go somewhere and actually talk to people that I'd actually like to have them vote for me? So I'll open it up to the floor. What do you guys think about what Trump's doing? What do you think about the current state of the race, and where's it going from here? Jump on in.
Totally agree with you. I think it's brilliant. And if Trump does it right, which I think he will, he's going to get some votes out of it. He's good with blue collar workers. He understands them. He knows how to talk to them. He's populist conservative. If the UA, we know the United Auto Workers leadership's already in bed with Biden, but he can get the rank and file, the members. And if he does it right, it's brilliant. And it's a perfect middle finger to Biden, who just went there to a Ford dealership, stood on the line for a few minutes and
12 minutes.
12 minutes. And, you know, when he should be in there trying to help settle the strike. And if Trump could actually, well, the UAW will never work with him, but if he could be the one to settle the strike, that would be huge for him. And I believe they're holding this at a non-union auto parts manufacturer in Detroit.
Oh,
I believe that's
a middle finger to UAW right there from Mr. Trump, at least to the leadership. And I just think it's brilliant.
Okay. Brentley?
No, I think everything Tracy just said was brilliant. I totally agree with her. I heard that Joe Biden had done a little photo op on the line and almost tripped getting off the plane.
I saw that.
His Secret Service agents have been instructed, allegedly, according to sources, to carefully monitor and make sure he doesn't fall, because that's something they're very concerned about over there at Team Biden. But yeah, no, it's a brilliant move. It's going to get him a lot of play with, like she said, middle class, blue collar, and those are his people. You know, he works well with them. He employs lots of them. He's always employed lots of them. And he's good at talking to them. He knows how they speak, how they eat, how they jive. So, and it's tactically, you know, doing it the same night. He's been doing this too. Like the last Republican debate, he had his little sit down with Tucker. And so I like how he's just kind of like reminding everyone that he's the only one in the room that it's so Trump. He's such a narcissist, but like you can't help but like love it because it's hilarious and very American. So
Yeah.
It's almost like he dropped the kids off at daycare and now he's going to go do the real work.
Oh,
You know, the debates being daycare.
Well, I was just really let down by DeSantis. Vivek, I feel like he's just speaking the role. And everybody
I
else
love
is
Vivek.
just
And Vivek will win the debate. He will win the
speaks
debate. He will mop the
based,
floor
you know,
up
but
and-
I don't believe him. He doesn't strike me as genuine, and that's my major concern with him. He says everything I want to hear, and that makes me distrust him.
That's true, because Vivek, I didn't know this, but Vivek actually was at I think it was 88 presidential election college conference, and then in the college conferences he was there, but Pete Buttigieg was there as well. And what I found out about Buttigieg recently is that his father is the one that brought over Marxism, because he translated a book that one of Mussolini's underlings did about how to bring fascists to America. He translated it for the American release back in the day. I don't know. I have to get all the information, but it was Liz Wheeler had broke this on the Glenn Beck show today, I heard. So
Pete Buttigieg's dad.
Yes. And the thing is that but the thing is that, my friends, it's deeper than you could think. And this is sometimes out there. The minister of propaganda in Europe during the 30s is actually the family owns Netflix.
What?
Well,
yeah, there as again, you have to if you basically, who's getting rich? We basically say, just like it's a segue aspect. Disney lost money. Did they really lose it? Where did it go? Who got paid? Follow the money. That's what we have to do here. In regards to Trump, everyone is correct here. Trump has been an icon of business ever since I could remember. I remember when things went wrong in New York. Like right now, everyone is saying it's fine, don't worry about it. As the city declined in the 70s, he saved New York. He was there at after the 9/11 attacks, but again, he was there. This is horrible. We have to help everybody. He's out there doing stuff, and he didn't do it for political gain. He did it because he loves New York. That's all I remember. When I think of New York and it's quintessential New Yorker who is one of the people, it's him, even though he's a multimillionaire. But that's the whole idea. Again, he's smart. He raised good kids. He has a good family. So that's what I say. And then that's why, again, these authentic things speak to people who are now building the cars at the UAW. That's why you have to separate the organization of a union and all of the corruption it can have and is rife with sometimes, with the actual worker I'm here to do a job and I want someone to protect me. Who's got my back? The union does? Maybe not. Yes, they do. Maybe not. But I know that this man, if I elect him as president, he got my back. And he says it every day. If they come after me, they really want to go and come after you. So that's the whole point.
Yeah. Cam?
He's absolutely playing the media game like a professional, as always. And because the last debate, he also did his release with Tucker on X. So he knows what he's doing, and he's definitely separating the competition from himself, because there basically is no competition at this point. What I'm waiting for is to see how the DNC and RNC are going to continue to collaborate to get him off of ballots and install their either DeSantis or whatever that chick over the NRA is. I can't remember her name.
Ronna McDaniel.
Well, you had this bogus thing that's going on regarding the businesses in New York trying to go after it. So they're trying everything. They're trying everything.
They're throwing everything at the wall, see what sticks.
Yeah, which is not a good strategy.
Well, it's just banana republic
that's going to get struck down by the appellate court. That's so unconstitutional. It's going to get struck down by the appellate court, I hope.
Yeah, for my part, that verdict that came out the other day, and in another lifetime, I worked in the banking industry. So basically, let me understand this. And I was talking to my buddy Smiling Jack about this the other day. I said, so let me get this straight. And I said, so Trump goes into a bank, says my property is valued at this. The bank loans him money. Trump pays back the bank with interest. And then after it's all said and done, the bank realizes, oh crap, this property may not have been worth what Donald Trump says it was worth. Oh, the horror. Oh, the humanity. We made money off this transaction and willingly believed what may not have been true and we could not factually verify at the time. And my
What's
buddy
the
Smiling
damages
Jack
there,
said,
though?
Are you
Yeah.
are you telling me they didn't know there was
There's
no
no damages.
appraisals or anything that went on?
well,
Bullshit.
Yeah,
and that's my first question.
It's a big
Go ahead,
crock
Pam.
of bullshit because all of those anytime you get a loan for property or any kind of
You have to have an
land, anything
appraisal.
like that, yes, a third party does the appraisal and actually gives
Yes.
the banking or financial institution the actual appraised value. And Mar-a-Lago is estimated to make about $25 million a year. And they're trying to say that the land and everything that's on it is only worth $30 million. It's a big crock of bullshit, and people think that a 10 times ask, which is pretty normal because half of an acre in the same area is $20 million. They're trying to act like he pulled a fast one on the bank, which is just you either are dumb enough to think banks are that dumb and could actually get hoodwinked like that, or you're just in the cult, which is 98% of the people who are out
That's
there
true.
screeching about it, like Kyle fucking Kalinske.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they don't
Oh,
want
I
to take
hate
care of
him.
their own mess. They want to basically look at that. It's over there. Look over there.
Well, you know
That's-
what? Talking about
I
Trump
literally-
is ratings.
Yeah.
You know, it gets attention. No matter whether it's good,
You're not wrong.
bad, anywhere in between. And this is what CNN knew in 2016. That's why we got President Donald Trump, was because talking about him was fucking gangbusters with the ratings. So you can't blame him for doing what gets attention. I mean, that's kind of what we're doing, right?
That's true. Yeah.
My current conspiracy theory about what the liberal media and the mouthpieces are doing is you've seen them do these little things like supporting the Second Amendment whenever the New Mexico governor did her ban, and Gavin Newsom said something else recently, and everybody's like, "Oh, look, the tide is maybe changing, maybe not." I think they're just laying low because they're being told that with all the judicial stuff that's going on, they need to act impartial to keep heat off of them and draw them more favor while the system just does what they want it to do. I genuinely do not think Gavin Newsom or that kid in Florida or any of these Democratic governors or anything are actually looking out for the best interest of the American people. They're just smiling and clapping, and behind the scenes they're cheering for what's going on while outwardly pretending like it might be a big deal the other way.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's very kind of like just touch and go. And I guess we'll have to see, what happens. I don't think Joe Biden really is going to end up being their candidate. I made a TikTok video today, like my new conspiracy theory, my favorite one is that the establishment is going to have him like before the end of the year because of all the scandal. Everything is just going to be too much. And Hunter Biden's going to go to jail, and they're going to, make it look like, oh, we fought the corruption and everything goes back. Like they're going to like be like the anti-corruption party, because they're going to, and whatever the other guy that they just, there was another senator from Jersey, I think they just busted.
Menendez.
Right. And he was also an anti-Biden Democrat. So what they're going to do is they're going to find these troublemakers in the party and like get them on all their corruption and then make it look like they're, doing better. And then they'll probably bring in somebody. I don't know who they're going to pull in. Newsom's the one that they've been sort of like, he's been positioning himself quietly. But the thing is, they have to, whoever it is, they have to announce before the end of the year. So whatever's going to happen has to happen before the end of the year. We got like 2 more months.
But
Yeah,
Biden
and
is not going to step down. They'll have to do something.
No, they're going to
Biden
have
is
to
afraid
off
being
him.
Prosecuted.
They're going to have to off him.
Biden is afraid of
well,
being prosecuted. As long as he's in that office, they're not going to prosecute him.
right.
Yeah. I'll agree.
And he could just
Yeah.
pardon Hunter too. He could just be like, let my
No,
people
Right.
go.
I think Biden's going to use Hunter as the reason he's stepping down to focus on family matters, and Newsom's going to take it after that. And I think the RNC is going to keep Trump from going on. They'll get Nikki Haley or DeSantis because they're absolutely establishment neocons.
Well, the problem. I mean, I could see the Democrats trying to find a way to get Biden off the ticket because he's polling badly against
So
Trump,
badly.
which I could.
So
Yeah, well,
badly.
and so badly, and I'll even show everybody out there in internet land just how badly.
Oh, it's so
as
sad.
soon as- yeah, I know. It's
Poor
just terrible.
Joe.
Yeah, breaking my heart.
Nobody likes him.
No, well, no one's liked him for 40 years. They're just tolerating him. But yeah, I mean, this is the latest Real Clear Politics average of polls, and either. I mean, there was a poll that came out today showing Biden +5. I kind of look at that as an outlier, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, I mean, every poll that's come out either shows Biden with the tiniest of leads, or you've got a Trump lead. Now, granted, all of them, with the exception of a couple of them, are inside margin of error. But does anybody remember back to 2020 that they ever saw a poll with Trump ever having a lead on Biden at any point? I mean, maybe one very early on in that race. But after the summer, no.
Why do you think they do polls with such small sample sizes?
That's a really good question. Richard Barris, the People's Pundit, who is a fellow that I follow when it comes to trying figuring out these polls, has made the statement. I mean, when he runs a poll, especially nationally, he does it with at least 3,000 samples. At least. He's like, you need more
with
people
like
to make
Twitter
the poll
and
good.
stuff. Like we could have samples of like hundreds of thousands.
Kind of
like,
easily.
Orders of magnitude greater that would give us much more accurate information. Like, why do you think we have only samples of a few thousand to represent a population of like what, 350 million? How many Americans are we now?
Yeah, 330 million. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I agree.
Speaking of polls, I saw something today that was an article. It wasn't a poll, but it was talking about how CNN. It was talking about how 40% of Americans support what the UAW is asking for. 40% pay increase, 32-hour work week. Anything over 32 hours is overtime. Defined pension instead of 401k. I'm like, who are these people that are supporting this? Because I don't want to pay $200,000 for a Nissan Sentra.
Well,
and that's where it's going.
Yeah, and you brought up something about
it's going to happen.
Biden.
So it'll be $200,000. It's going to happen. I don't know. It's.
We haven't even hit hyperinflation yet.
No, we haven't. We're again. The 5 and dimes, getting a suit for $9. Now it's $900. It's eventually going to happen. So then the suits or car is going to be $200,000. You're going to pay $50 for a cup of coffee. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. For just a regular cup of coffee. No more 5 and dime. It's not gonna,
what'll Bitcoin be when we get there, though? That's the question.
That's going to be much higher. So that's the whole point. Beyond what you think. So yeah, do it now.
I think there's going to be a bifurcation before then within the nation, because there's absolutely going to be the populist movement, which is like, we're not going to do this crap. And then
so what happens when they remove Trump from the ballot and people aren't happy about that? Like,
I think that's when you see genuine people, genuine.
What does Tim Pool say?
Civil War.
What does Tim Pool say?
Non-fedsurrections, actual genuine grassroots people going to their capitals and asking what the hell is going on.
Yeah, I mean, and that's frightening. That's truly frightening. And God, I mean, I can see it happening. God forbid it does.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they don't realize. Conservatives, libertarians, and moderates are nice until they aren't. And when they aren't, it's bad.
Did you get Carl Benjamin was on Temple last night, and he made a really good point. The left are out to kill, while the right are just out to be left alone, and that's not how you win. at all. Like to me, I think there should have been some type of revolution or uprising a long time ago. It's just people were too comfortable and convenient, and they ignored the chipping away at society that was happening. Because what you said about the auto workers wanting those demands, I 100% believe those things could be reasonable had we not had the corporate corruption and bureaucracy malfeasance and just general waste of American taxpayer dollars that we have today.
Yeah, and go and
And
talking
I'm not
about
belittling auto workers, but those demands just sound outrageous to me, knowing what they make already. And I say that because I have a family member that worked for Honda for many, many years. And I know what they make. Those demands just sound outrageous.
Yeah, and to go back to something that you said, Tracy, talking about, why isn't Biden trying to help settle this strike? Why is he just going up there for like a 12-minute photo op? Well, if he does, he runs the risk of exposing to the union that he is the cause of their problems. I mean, I think a significant portion of them know this already, but there are going to be some people that are like, well, Biden, he's a union president, he's a union Democrat, he's standing for us. No, when they start putting two and two together and realizing that his pushing for electric vehicles and the Green New Deal is costing their brothers and sisters in the union jobs, because over time, those electric vehicles will need fewer and fewer parts to be put into the vehicle. Hence, you don't need as many union members on the assembly line. Hence, people aren't working. Then when they put that together, they're gonna be like, hey, don't come up to our strike. Get out of here. We don't want you.
Yep. Is Trump running late?
I believe he is, but that's
He's such
why
a
I said,
diva.
yeah, well, whoa, wait a minute. Wait just a minute. Okay. Folks, let me get this pulled up. The man has hit the stage.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. I'm going to try and do this with as least little lag as possible. So, yes, he looks like he's conducting a symphony at the moment. Okay. Let me see what I can do here and get this thing started. Come on.
No sound.
Yeah, there's no sound. Or we can't
No
hear it.
sound?
Nope.
Nope.
Hang on. We will
Stand
wait a
by.
minute.
Man, this mic is really sensitive.
For the people out there that are listening, absolutely start shifting toward Rumble, because YouTube is 100% going the tyrannical leadership
Yes.
route.
Yep.
They're turning into cable TV, and that's what
Word about
legacy.
the future and what the future holds
Is there sound now?
for
Yeah.
themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, he's coming.
Incredible families.
Okay. Let me see what I can. There we go.
I want to begin this evening by saluting these truly great Americans who do not get the credit they deserve. You don't get the credit they deserve. And now they want to go all electric and put you all out of business. You know that. Right? To the welders, assembly line workers, machine operators, forklift drivers, pipe fitters, tool and die makers, mechanics, electricians,
This is brilliant.
technicians, journeymen.
Yep.
We
Master
love
class right here.
Butter him up, Trump. Butter him up.
your environment. You built this country. You love this country. And you are the ones that make our country run. You know that, right?
But you believe what he's saying because he's done it before. That's the whole point.
Before I stepped into the political arena 7 years ago, I spent my whole life working alongside of Americans just like you. Spent a lot of time with you. You just don't know that, but I spent a lot of time with you and people just like you. Now,
That's creepy.
I put everything on the line to fight for you. I've risked it all to defend working class from the corrupt political class that has spent decades sucking the life, wealth, and blood out of this country. That's why I'm here tonight to lay out a vision for a revival of economic nationalism and our automobile manufacturing lifeblood, which they're sucking out of our country. I want a future that protects American labor, not foreign labor. A future that puts American dreams over foreign profits, and a future that raises American wages, that strengthens American industry, that builds national pride, and that defends this country's dignity, not squanders it all to build up foreign countries that hate us.
It's doubling down on the nationalism.
All over the world, but they're mostly on the other side of the world. We don't want that. Under crooked Joe Biden, you have none of this. You have none of the things we want. Instead of economic nationalism, you have ultra left-wing globalism. They hate our country. And the workers of America are getting, to put it very nicely, screwed. You're getting screwed. Yesterday, Joe Biden came
Got a
to
hype
Michigan.
man in the crowd, just repeating everything.
Right? What happened?
But it's
We
his
lost the video
policies
feed.
that send
It's your
Michigan
desktop.
auto workers to the
there it is.
unemployment line.
Nope. Hang on. There we go.
I got it.
He only
We're good.
came after I announced that I would be here. You know, he announced quite a bit later. Spoke for a few seconds. Did you notice he spoke for what? A few seconds? And he had absolutely no idea what he was saying. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know where he was. He didn't know what we were saying. Where am I? He's saying, where am I? Oh, you're in Michigan. Oh, that's great. What do they do in Michigan? They grow wheat in Michigan, he said. They grow wheat. No, that's places.
He's funny.
Biden's truly ridiculous electrical. Think of this. He wants electric vehicle mandates that will spell the death of the U.S. auto industry. You know, it doesn't matter. I watch it. You're negotiating a contract. You're all on picket lines and everything. But it doesn't make a damn bit of difference what you get, because in 2 years, you're all going to be out of business. You're not getting anything. What they're doing to the auto industry in Michigan and throughout the country is absolutely horrible and ridiculous. Hundreds of thousands of American jobs, your jobs, will be gone forever because crooked Joe Biden is selling out. But I don't think it's him. I don't think he actually knows what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. It's not his fault. Let's not blame him. But he's surrounded with radical left Marxists and crazy people, fascists, bad people. He's selling you out to China. He's selling you out to the environmental extremists on the radical left. People have no idea how bad this is going to be also for the environment. You know, those batteries, when they get rid of them, and lots of bad things happen. And when they're digging it out of the ground to make those batteries, it's going to be very bad for the environment. You can be loyal to American labor, or you can be loyal to the environmental lunatics, but you can't really be loyal to both. It's one or the other. And they understand that. The Democrat Party has no idea what they're doing right now. They have no idea what to do. Crooked Joe is siding with the left-wing crazies who will destroy automobile manufacturing and will destroy our country itself. They're destroying our country. You look at that at the border. We had the safest border in history. Now you look at what's happening. It's just a horror show. I side with the auto workers of America and with those who want to make America great again, and I always will. And I don't get one thing. I don't get why Ford and GM, why these car makers aren't fighting to make cars that are going to sell, to make cars that are going to be able to go on long distances. They immediately give up. I see it with the oil companies too. They're promoting windmills, which don't work, by the way, but they don't work. They want windmills all over the place. It's like they're told what to do, and that's what they go against their industry. They're either stupid or they're gutless. But why do they concede so fast? This plant, we just walked through this plant, and the electric vehicles are going to put them out of business. They don't need any of this. The things that you make in Michigan, they don't need any of it. Why is it that these big, powerful car companies with guys that are making $35 million a year immediately quit? They say, you want electric vehicles, we'll give it to you, when the damn things don't go far enough and they're too expensive. And I'm not in that business, but I know a lot about it. They don't go far enough and they're too expensive. A vote
And
for
they're an
Cooking
extremely
Joe,
finite resource.
the future of the auto industry will
Exactly.
be made
And the
in
batteries
China.
die and have to be replaced.
That's where they're made.
Yeah,
My pledge
the
to
term
every
fossil
automobile
fuel is the
business, vote
most
for President Trump
egregious
means
use of
future
language
the
that I've
automobile
had. One of them.
will be made in America, where it should be. Made in America.
Ooh, a lively crowd tonight.
Oh yeah.
It will be fueled by American energy. It will be sourced by American suppliers. It will be sculpted from American iron, aluminum, and steel, and it will be built by highly skilled American hands and high-wage American labor. That's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And we'll do it first day in office. First day in office. It'll be signed out first day in office. What they're doing to our country is horrible. What they're doing to the auto workers of this country just doesn't make sense. I saved American auto manufacturing. You know that in my first term, and I'll save it again. We did great. We did everything to keep those jobs going. We'll save it again in our second term. Unfortunately, that's what we had to do because things happened during the election that you know about, happened right here in this state also. And we will make it bigger, better, and stronger than ever before. That's what we're going to do. But we want to talk about it, but we talk and we keep talking, but we don't want to talk too much. But before we do talk about the current UAW strike that we've been hearing about, and I see people really with mixed emotions because you're striking for wages, but you know your job's only going to be here for 2 years or 3 years if you're lucky. How will we rescue the auto manufacturing in the United States? Let's remember, you got to remember how we got here. For decades and decades, and I've been talking about this subject for 12 years, long before I ever thought of becoming a politician. How good was that? That's a lot of fun. I could have had the easiest, nicest life, L. I would have had the nicest, softest life instead I have to beat these lunatics up all day long. Every day. Every day, lunatics.
Get up on that crust there, Trumpy. Get up
I never
there.
heard of the word indictment. Now I get indicted like every 3 days.
It's true, though.
He spoke badly about the election. He must be indicted. He said something bad about Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the most corrupt president and most incompetent president we've ever had. Oh, no. No, I shouldn't have said that. I'm going to get indicted again for saying that. For decades, we've watched rotten and crooked politicians like Biden treat American jobs as disposable and American workers as expendable. They sat back and got rich by taking bribes to let other countries rape and pillage our jobs and our wealth. That's what happened. Joe Biden claims to be the most pro-union president in history. Nonsense. Think of it. His entire career, just think of it. His entire career has been an act of economic treason and union destruction. He's destroyed unions, shipping millions of American jobs overseas while personally taking money from foreign nations hand over fist. Look at the money he got from China. Look at what's coming out, China. Look at Joe backs NAFTA. He backed China's entry into the World Trade Organization. He backed the horrendous Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have destroyed the American auto industry had I not stopped it. You remember when I stopped it? You guys were gone. You were gone. And that was a done deal. And in fact, during the debate, I got beautiful Hillary Clinton. I don't call her crooked because I only use that name for Biden now. So I call her beautiful. She's a beautiful woman, beautiful Hillary Clinton. To change her position on TPP, they were trying to pull a fast one on you. So she actually changed her position during the campaign, but she would have changed it back had that been a different result. But thank goodness it wasn't, because we made things and did things that nobody believed possible. Nobody believed possible. Biden also backed a gentleman named Barack Hussein Obama. Have you ever heard of him? And his atrocious Korean trade deal. You've heard of him. Crooked Joe backed every single blood-sucking globalist attack on U.S. auto workers, and you've been attacked for a long time. Those attacks all stopped for 4 years with us, and they were getting so strong, and you were getting so strong, and they were building plants here again. Now the plants are going back to Mexico, and they're going back to China. And he's coming back. They're coming back for more. I don't know that he's going to make it to the starting gate, but let's assume he does. If it's not him, it'll be somebody else with the same ideas.
Facts.
The ideas they have, they're very destructive for our country. But we will stop him. Hopefully your leaders at United Auto Workers will endorse Donald Trump.
Well, that was a throwdown.
It is a throwdown.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Because, standard history for years and decades and years and years and years, they always endorse a Democrat. It's almost like an automatic reflex, and there's no reason for it, but it's a habit. It's a bad habit. Hasn't worked because, look, you've lost 38% of your industry over the period of 25 years. Much of it's gone to Mexico. We don't talk about Mexico. Much of it's gone to Mexico. They make plants in Mexico. A friend of mine, a great supporter, but a great gentleman who builds plants. That's what he builds, auto plants. He said to me the other day, you got to see the plants we're building in Mexico. I said, well, how do they compare to the U.S.? He said, not even a contest. And I said, isn't that a shame? You remember what I did? I said, you don't give us protection at our border. I'm going to charge you a tariff of 25%. We want 28,000 soldiers on our border, and we had the safest border in the history of our country. Now we have the worst border in the history of the world, by the way. After NAFTA, the United States lost nearly 4 million manufacturing jobs and almost 1 in 3 auto jobs. Joe Biden voted on that. He gave you that. Nearly 250,000 jobs were destroyed here in Michigan alone, including 40% of all auto jobs. Think of that. In fact, I had to check this number because it's inconceivable. You would think factories. 60,000 factories closed and went overseas. Can you imagine? 60,000. No, who would think that? When I first saw that number, I said, oh, somebody made a typographical error. Maybe it was 600 factories. Could have been 6,000, but that sounded too high. 60,000. And the good news is, if the number was wrong, the fake news will be checking it out. So I have to say, I have to give you the right numbers. Otherwise, the fake news is out there. Crooked Joe and his payday with the Biden family, they raked in millions and millions of dollars. You see what's going on. The news doesn't really report it. Very little news reports it. But it was the men and women who got every single day. They got up and came back home with grease on their hands, and they were the ones that paid the price. They paid a big, big price. The only time Joe Biden has ever gotten his hands dirty is when he's taking cash from foreign countries, which is quite often.
Here you go.
It's quite often.
It's true.
Based on what
That's
we're seeing,
devastating.
it's much more often than anyone would have thought. Can you imagine an unannounced raid on his many homes? He would have made Senator Menendez look like a baby. Just like a baby. Can you imagine? They gave him 3 weeks notice. They said, we're going to raid your home over documents. They gave him 3 weeks. Would 3 weeks be enough? So I can imagine. I'd like to see what he cleaned out of there. Joe Biden only cares about enriching his own family. I care about enriching your family. That's why I did this.
A great line. A great line.
Yep.
He practiced that.
I'm looking for you, not
Well,
for me.
he did that too, though.
Well,
Yeah.
I will always have your back.
Fair.
I promise.
Wages were up across the board.
When
when
I
he
came
was
into office, the
office.
auto industry was on its knees, gasping its last breath.
Well, the
after
economy was
8
great
long
until
years
COVID.
of Obama
Mhm.
and Biden. But you finally got a president who stood up to the. You got to understand. I stood up to people that hate you. They hate you, or they maybe hate our country.
Looks
But
like
I
Brian's
stood
got
up
a little
for the
trolley
auto
troll.
workers and stood up for the great state of Michigan like nobody's ever stood up before. And just as I promised, I withdrew from the Trans-Pacific.
Oh, we've got a little
Caucus
hate watcher.
my
Hi.
very first week. Do you remember
He's got
2016?
two.
Oh, we
when
do?
won Michigan.
Yeah.
had been like
Are you not
Okay,
reading
I
chat?
can-
Are you not reading chat?
No, because I'm
Oh, yeah.
trying to keep this
We
so
did
the
much
stream
better
goes
in
smoothly.
2020,
So
and
I've got
they-
my
we
screen
did much
down.
better.
So if you guys can
But we're
see
going
it,
to do so. We're going to swamp
free
them.
to-
We're going to swamp them. We actually did much better, including in Michigan.
It's just a couple of
I
hive
ended
mind idiots.
Obama's war on American energy. He had a
Okay.
war on American energy.
That's
Gasoline
fine.
prices plummeted and soon reached $1.87 a gallon. How does that
Because I
sound?
don't need that.
Now, you know, it's over $5 and $6 and even $7 a gallon in some places, and it's going up higher and higher and higher. And I think they want that. That way you go all electric so you can drive for 15 minutes before you have to get a charge.
Oh,
The
God. What
economy
another
boomed.
fucking...
The household incomes rose by more than $6,000 a year, which was a record. $6,000 a year during my term. A year. I ended the disaster known as NAFTA, the worst trade deal ever made, and replaced it with the brand new USMCA, Mexico, Canada. That's the best trade deal ever made, they say, in our country's history. I think the deal we made with China is even better. But unfortunately, with COVID, I don't even talk about that one. But we made a lot of good deals with Japan, with South Korea, with many, many countries. We took bad deals and made them good deals. They were so bad. I used to ask my people, who made these deals? Why did they do it? Who made them? They were so bad, just on their face. With the USMCA, 75% of every car under that deal must be made in North America. In other words, they have to make 75% of the car in North America. Who ever heard of that? And a massive portion must be made by high-wage labor, which means American labor, you're high wage. Back in 2008, Biden and Obama promised you that they'd renegotiate NAFTA, but in 8 years, they never lifted a finger. They never changed a thing. You know, NAFTA was so bad that when it was negotiated a long time ago, decades ago, they made typographical errors, like in numbers. And they were bad typographic. They were bad for us. Cost us. Nobody went back to change them. They were typographical errors, and we lived with it for decades with these errors. Can you imagine that? Normally, like, that happens. You do that in deals, too. And you go back the following day, say, they made a mistake. We're renegotiating this deal. I don't care if it's signed or not. And people sort of have to do that. Legally, they have to do that. If there's an error, if there's a typographic. They made typographical errors. They made errors. Maybe they weren't so typographical. Probably the other side made them imperfect, actually. You know, they probably made them. But they made these errors, and they never corrected them for years, for decades. But I corrected them. You know how I did it? By terminating it, terminating the whole damn deal. And I know how good the USMCA deal is because Canada, as you know, and Mexico are trying like hell to renegotiate it. They want to renegotiate that deal. But in less than 2 years, I got that done, the USMCA and many other deals. I also renegotiated Obama's Korea trade deal to fully restore your protective tariff on foreign pickup trucks. They wanted to change it. The Democrats wanted it to expire, and so did South Korea. Bad.
I don't know. He's getting boring now to me.
Without that, you wouldn't even have a truck industry. Right
Yeah.
now, it's probably the strongest part of your industry. Without that, you wouldn't have an industry. So it's something I was very proud to do. It was very not easy, but we got it done, and we got it done properly.
Well, getting out of the TPP was
Michigan
definitely the right
jobs would
thing to
have been
do
deported,
because it
while
absolutely
millions and millions of
ruined
foreign cars would have
the
flooded American streets.
manufacturing base here.
Obama and Biden didn't care one bit,
Definitely.
but I did, and I stopped it. And I stopped it.
That's one thing
cold.
I never
I
understood
took
is
on
why
communist China like no
people aren't
administration
harder on the
in history, no
corporations and
administration
keeping them from
in
going over
history
to other
did what I did,
countries
bringing
just to
in
get cheaper
hundreds of
labor
billions of dollars
for
flowing into our
obsolescence.
treasury.
Well, it started under George W. Bush.
Literally 10 cents.
Started
And
under
also
Clinton.
$28 billion for our great farmers.
NAFTA
You know,
really
farmers.
kickstarted it.
That's
Oh,
why I
wait.
say, you think I'm going to do badly in Iowa?
I
or
remember
Nebraska?
something under George W. Bush and it being a
Wisconsin,
big
any of our
deal.
farm areas, I say,
But then again, I was like
Mm.
old enough to pay attention at the time, so that might be it.
from everywhere. Jesus. be
Clinton,
careful.
I was in high school.
But who else would have done that?
Bush's
$28 billion. I
Bush's
said to you,
biggest fault to me
Carry
was
Sonny, Sonny, how
the
bad
Patriot
that
Act.
$28
Oh, yeah.
was about 5 years.
Well, I mean, he
Well,
was basically the
and they
puppet
paid
for
it
9/11.
Well, yeah, and he murdered 3 million
Paid
people.
it back.
So
Give or
And
take.
my
yeah,
greatest
give or
son
take, plus or
sung a
minus a
secret.
few.
I kept Chinese cars the hell out of America. Is that okay with you? Is that okay? UAW, is that okay? It's and a
God,
lot
this
of
guy knows
people
how to
don't
work a
know
crowd.
this.
Oh, yeah. His crowd work is excellent. Like he sensed that, you know, he was meandering.
Imposed a whopping 27.5% tariff and tax on all Chinese automobiles coming into our country. And this magnificent tariff, they can't get it off because they make so much money with it And by the way, if they took it off, you'd be out of business right away. They want to take it off. They're trying to take it off, but it's so good, it's so powerful, it's so strong, but they would take over your industry totally. But it remains in place to this day, not because they wanted to, but because they sort of have no choice. And it's no exaggeration to state that the Trump presidency and the deftly used and applied Trump tariffs and taxes saved the American auto industry from extinction time and time again. And we're going to do a version of it that's going to make you bigger and better and stronger. It's not even going to be a contest with where you are right now.
Such typical Trump speak.
But crooked Joe Biden is back like a wretched old vulture trying to finish off his prey. Can you believe it? I don't know. I just don't know.
Almighty.
You know, I see some of these things that are happening. I say, I wonder
It's
if
good
he
at the
has any
insults.
that this stuff is happening.
Kinda,
Biden's
that's
still
all
operating
liberal media is going to be tomorrow. He
as
called Joe
indicated
Biden
that
this.
70% of all cars
Here's why
sold
he's
in the United
wrong.
States must be fully electric.
Well, actually, it was 0.5% less.
These are built specifically for people that want to take very short trips, okay? Hop in the car, darling, let's drive down to the store and let's drive back. Oh, it's crazy. That's crazy. You know, they say the
I don't even think
happiest
it's that.
day
I think
when
they're
you
just
buy an
trying
electric
to price
is the
out
first 10
the
minutes
middle
of
class
driving it.
from buying new
And then after
automobiles,
that, panic sets in because you're worried, where the hell am I
especially
going
in
to
the
get a
cities.
charge?
Well, yeah, they were trying to retard social mobility.
Despite colossal
Too many
government
people were
subsidies,
becoming too
Ford
wealthy
alone
too quickly.
projected to lose an astonishing $4.5 billion on electric vehicles. Why are they agreeing to this? That's what I don't understand. Why are they agreeing to it? Why does Ford and GM, why are they all agreeing to this? The cars aren't selling. They got them all over the place. You can buy them for peanuts. Why are they not fighting and saying it doesn't work? How about the trucks? The trucks go for like 1/5 of you take a Power Built or one of the good brands, they go for just a small amount of time.
Did he say power built?
Yeah.
Yeah. They got
Peterbilt?
Diesel fire.
Yeah.
You're not even allowed to say the word diesel fire. Oh, that's bad for the environment. No, bad for the
What is
environment
that? I don't even know what that is.
It's
But on
a
the electric vehicle
big engine
this year,
diesel
to
truck
comply with the
manufacturer.
mandate is
Yeah.
60,000 loss. They're going to lose $60,000 for every car produced. That sounds like a great deal. But honestly, for UAW and for auto workers and for everybody and for the country, it's not sustainable. So they may try and do it, and I don't know, they're trying to do something for the environment. By the way, that's worse for the environment than what we're talking about, much worse. But think of it, they're going to lose $60,000 a car. So how?
The
when are
guy
they
up
gonna
there
come
looking
to
slick as
you? You can't
shit.
do that anymore. You're going to come to your head
Yep.
man.
It's my president right there.
He's a good man. I think he's a good man, but he's got to endorse Trump. The one thing I say about a politician. I've known politicians all my life, and then if you would have told me I was going to be a politician someday, I would have said, no way, I don't want to be a politician. But the one thing I know is when you go out and you come out with an idea early, and then you...
I think he's lying about that because he was talking about Oprah a long time ago. If he ever ran,
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, he was talking about being president like in the 90s.
A little bit during the election, they're coming back, and they're coming back stronger than ever. It's like Ron DeSanctimonious. He tried to destroy Social Security. Now he's trying to back it up a little bit. He wants to bring the minimum wage.
Oh my God, he has the best nicknames for people.
Put a heavy hit on Medicare. What happens is now they back up a little bit, but they always go back to it as soon as the election's over. So you can't go for that. And in the case of Biden, he's coming back to electric vehicles. Now he hasn't even left yet. So we're talking about, but yeah, maybe someday soon he's going to leave because he wants to get more votes. But just remember, he's coming back. They always go back to their original thought. That's where they are. I don't know why, but that's where they are. Biden's mandate isn't a government regulation. It's a government assassination of your jobs and of your industry. The auto industry is being assassinated.
I don't know who wrote
And
this
it makes
speech,
no
but
difference
man, they
what
did
you
a great
get. I
job
don't
with it.
care what you get in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 5
A
weeks.
little laggy in the middle there.
They're gonna be closing up, and they're going to be building those cars in China and other places. It's a hit job on Michigan and on Detroit, and that's not sustainable. These numbers are not sustainable. No company can afford to lose $60,000 a car. It's going to be more than that. All of these cars would be manufactured in foreign lands that you couldn't care less about. I want choice in schools and in the purchase of an automobile, an SUV or a truck. I want choice for my automobile, for my truck, for my SUV. And I also happen to want choice for schools. Do we agree with that choice? This is about auto workers and automobiles and workers, period. But I think we can say that everybody wants to see choice in schools also. If you want to buy an electric car, that's absolutely fine. I'm all for it. But we should not be forcing consumers to buy electric vehicles. They want to buy all trucks. They want to make all trucks electric. You know that, right? They're going to destroy, you talk about supply chain, they're going to destroy the supply chain. They're forcing the truckers to go all electric trucks. Now the trucks probably don't have the power. They only go about 300 miles, whereas a diesel fuel truck goes 2,000 miles. That's a big difference, would you say? Also, the battery takes up so much room, there's practically no room left for what you happen to be shipping. The whole thing is crazy. They want to do it with boats too. I was with a boating manufacturer in a great state, South Carolina, with a great governor, by the way, Henry McMaster. And we were there 2 days ago, and I asked him that question. I said, he said, yeah, they want us to go all electric. I said, how does that work for a boat? He said, the entire boat would be like one big battery, we'd have no room for anything else. I said, what happens if the boat has an accident, starts sinking? Do you get electrocuted if the boat sinks? The guy said, I've never thought of that, actually, but I think I gave him an idea, actually. Now, can you imagine the boat goes down and you're sitting on top of a battery? I don't feel good about that, right? In other words, you have to stop approximately for a truck 6 times for the same trip. How are they going to stop 6 times? And yet it's not stopping these lunatics in Washington. These are lunatics. These are deranged people. And I'm not saying you can't buy an electric car. If you want to buy an electric car or a hybrid or an all gasoline car or a truck, that has to be your choice. You should have that choice. It's great, right? I could see electric cars working great for certain uses, short-term, short-distance uses. We have unlimited gasoline. Remember that. We have unlimited. China doesn't. We have unlimited gasoline. For 500 years, we have gasoline, more than any other country in the world. Can you imagine? A few years ago, we were energy independent. Now we're begging countries to give us gasoline. Can you imagine? Now, can you even imagine? And we had the best, the lightest, the sweetest. We have the best stuff. Now we're getting it. We're taking tar. Tar. You know what tar is? It's like tar that they have to refine. You know where they refine it? In Houston, Texas. We take tar now from Venezuela. Venezuela was supposed to be the bad guys. Venezuela's getting rich. We're refining their tar. And we're not taking our beautiful, beautiful stuff. We have the best stuff, but we have the most. We have more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. We were energy independent, and we were going to make our fortune, and we were going to sell it to Europe. We were going to pay off our debt. We were going to lower taxes still further. It's amazing. And then these people came in, and they have no clue, or they have a clue, which is even more dangerous in a certain way. Right now, electric cars don't go far enough, and they're just far, far too expensive, and people aren't going to be able to afford them. And the cost of operation is also much more. This is their option, though, if they want them. It's their option, and it's an option that some people will take, and I am all for them, but I will not allow, under any circumstances, the American automobile industry to die. I want it to thrive, and to thrive like never before.
If they were going to do an actual electric movement, they need to use nuclear batteries and stop trying to force these
Agreed.
cobalt and nickel batteries.
No, yeah, that's my my new conspiracy theory. Is they'll unveil some sort of energy tech advancement.
It's all over television, this speech. We're competing with the job candidates. They're all running for a job. No, they're all job candidates. They want to be in the...
I don't think they do that until
well,
they ruin
Secretary
what's
of
there,
something.
though.
They even say VP. I don't know. Does anybody see any?
It's the only way they can make everything go electric.
Yeah.
No, we're that's can you imagine? Can you imagine? They don't have a crowd like we have. When you look at the thousands of people outside that couldn't get in, why didn't you build a bigger plant? I'd like to. We're here today at Drake Enterprises, a family-owned and operated Michigan auto parts supplier that has been manufacturing in America for over 70 years, right? Drake was founded by a great man in 1952, Benny Stemple, right? Benny, we love Benny, your father, your grandfather. An American man, the deceased American man with a big American dream. He had a big, big, beautiful dream. Benny started with just 4 people and soon came to dominate the production of gear shift levers for trucks. Today, the company produces transmission components, driveline components, engine components, and car parts for every one of the Detroit Big Three. So I won't tell them I'd said bad things about them in your place, okay? I just want them to fight for what's right. It's common sense. But tonight I was honored to meet Benny's son, Lee, and Lee's children, Nate and Heather. Thank you very much. That's great. Beautiful
Oh, the
family.
personal touch.
Nate and Heather say their vision for this company is to prove that the American dream is still alive for their employees, like it was just for their granddad, who was so wonderful. So Lee, Nate, and Heather, we're going to help you get that job done, okay? And I want to congratulate you on 3 generations of American auto parts, proudly made in Michigan. We love Michigan. Great feeling for Michigan. Bad things are happening in Michigan. Your crime rate's through the roof. You got a lot of businesses moving out now. It's unbelievable, not even believable. Today, nearly 100% of Drake's business is producing components that go into vehicles with internal combustion engines, the very product that Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats and fascists, Marxists, now they want to make them, for whatever reason, illegal. Figure that one out. And yes, it's true. Today's radical Democrat Party wants to legalize drugs, shoplifting, and sexual mutilation of your children, but they want to allow your gas-powered Suburban, Silverados, and Ford F-150s to die. They can die. Under a Trump administration, gasoline engines will be allowed. And sex changes for children will be banned. Is that okay? Can you
Way to bring it back, Trumpy.
Yeah, God, don't even get me started on that.
Tracy, you know, if you said 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we will stop the mutilization of children, somebody would say, what the hell is he talking about? Today, you have to say it because that's what they're doing. Mutilization of children without parent consent. The whole thing is insane. The country has gone insane. You know, a lot of it, they say, you're very conservative. I say, no, I'm a person of common sense. It's not conservative. It's common sense. We want to have a border. We want to have good voting. We want to have same-day voting with all paper ballots. And we want to have a thing called voter ID. Why do the Democrats not want voter ID?
I know I've used my common sense to
voter ID.
Pay to bang a porn
If
actress.
look at Joe Biden gets his way, employees and countless other auto workers and suppliers will really be decimated. I don't know. I hate to tell you what's going to happen, but you know what's going to happen. We're going to stop it. By most estimates, under Biden's electric vehicle mandate, 40% of all U.S. auto jobs will disappear. Think of this, in 1 or 2 years. Think 1 or 2 years. That's what you have to be talking about, not you're going to get X dollars an hour. It doesn't matter what the hell you're getting an hour. Do me a favor. Just get your union guys, your leaders, to endorse me. Okay? And I'll take care of the rest. Because in looking over the statistics now, they're saying, but the real number will be 100%. Because under Biden's mandate, the entire car industry will be packed up and shipped to China, which controls over 80% of the supply chain for electric vehicle batteries. They control the whole thing. So they think close to 100% of the business will be gone. Every time Joe Biden and the UAW's political leadership talk about a fair transition to all electric cars, American labor will be under siege. It's not going to work for you. It can't work. And I learned a lot today with this great family. I tell you, they said, you know, it just won't work. They don't need anything that you have right here in Michigan, and they have beautiful product. There's no such thing as a fair transition to the end of your way of life. You're going to lose your beautiful way of life. For auto workers, Biden's forced transition is a transition to hell. It's a transition to hell. It's a transition to unemployment and to inflation without end. The inflation that you have now, we didn't have inflation. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. You know that because you went 4 years like you've never had in your history, in the history of Michigan.
As
To the
ever, he's the
striking
king of
workers,
stubble.
I support you in your goal of wages and greater stability, and I truly hope you get a fair deal for yourselves and your families. But if your union leaders will not demand that Crooked Joe repeal his electric vehicle mandate immediately, then it doesn't matter what hourly wage you get. It just doesn't make a damn bit of difference, because in 2 to 3 years, you will not have one job in this state. And you've seen it happen before. You've seen what happened where massive percentages of your industry went to other countries like Mexico, like China, like South Korea, like Japan. In other words, your current negotiations don't mean as much as you think. I mean, I watch you out there with the pickets, but I don't think you're picketing for the right thing. But if they endorse me, your leadership, you can tell them I said it, although I have a feeling they may be watching tonight. Because, you know, when Biden came here yesterday, they only had 11 people. I'll bet you we have 10,000 people standing outside. Right? I think we do. That's fact. In fact, for a little while, we're driving through, the people are going crazy. I said, is this a rally tonight?
Oh,
Yeah, and they hate him in Michigan, don't you know? Mm-hmm.
No, but I said, is this a rally? We're driving through thousands and thousands of people. We just put it online. Incredible. The great Dan Scavino put it online. Where's Dan Scavino? The great Dan Scavino. He gets everything. He sees what's going on. Thank you, Dan. Where is he? One of the greats of all time, most powerful men in politics. He controls the internet. The great Dan Scavino. Get over here with the cameras. Get over here. Stephen
I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Incredible. Jason Miller, a legend. Jason. Oh, somebody likes you over here, Jason. Now I have a great.
I don't know who that
He
is.
does name drop the random guests that he has at his rallies.
Well, it's flattering. I mean, imagine, you know, Trump says
At least they're not dead.
10,000 people.
Or in a wheelchair.
You see that when I have a new plan. How to keep this guy from standing up. We have to get him to stand up. How to keep him standing up and getting down a flag. You know, it's so unelegant. You know, I love those 747s, Air Force One. You know, I got new Air Force One. I saved $1.7 billion. They came to me. They said, sir, would you sign this? First day I was in office, I said, what is it? It's a new Air Force One. It's $5.7 billion. I said, that sounds like a lot of money for a plane. It's actually 2 planes, by the way, but they call it Air Force One. They're identical. I mean, even the wood grain, you can't tell the difference. I could tell because there was a little nick in one desk that wasn't on the other. So I could say that's one and the other one's too. No, it's incredible, actually. But, you know, those planes are like 32 years old, and nobody wanted to make the move and do it because they think, oh, it'll look luxury. In the meantime, they come in from Saudi Arabia and these other countries, brand new. They're like 3 months old, and they blow it away. And, you know, our country should have the latest and the greatest. So they wanted me to do it. It was $5.7 billion. I said, nope, it's too high. They said, why do you see that? Why are you saying that? Because Obama agreed to the deal. If they agreed to it, it's too high. So the head of Boeing came in and he said, sir, we have to get 5.7. I said, nope, I'm not doing it. I was supposed to sign it. I said, I'm not doing it, not for 5.7. It has to have a 3 on it. I didn't know what that meant, except I knew it was a hell of a cut, right? 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 So they said, sir, we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We'll take off $400 million. That was pretty good. I said, you know, I've been doing this for about 3 minutes and I got $400 million. Can you imagine the money these people make doing these plans? So I said, no deal. I said, no deal. And it's got to have a 3, got to have a 3. And I held out, and they called up 2 weeks later. I said, what do they want? They were calling. They said, so we're going to take another 300 million, that's 700 million off. And I haven't done anything. Probably worked for about 2.5 minutes, and I got 700. And I just said no, and I sort of forgot about it. A month and a half later, they called me up. Sir, we'll do it for 3,999,999,999.99 right? And I said, you have yourself a deal. So I saved $1.7 billion on that plane. I was very proud of it. Does anybody give me credit for that? No. Does the fake news call me and say, what a wonderful thing you did? No. That's okay. That's okay. But your leadership should endorse me, and I will not say a bad thing about them again, and they will have done their job. They will have done a proper job. In fact, if they endorse me, they will have the easiest labor leadership job anywhere in the country. They
Hey,
just
Brian.
have to sit back and watch
Yeah.
as our auto.
I might have to hop out, man.
Nights
I
I gotta
understand,
get
sir.
this munchkin to bed.
I understand. Thank you
luck
for
with the
stopping
munchkin.
by tonight. I genuinely appreciate it.
I mean, how
Oh
did
yeah, no
they-
problem, dude.
guy-
We'll do it again for sure.
I was weird.
Maybe, hopefully I can stay on the whole time next time.
Yeah.
I just gotta get this munchkin in bed.
Nice meeting you.
Hey, no
Have a
problem.
great night.
Hey,
Have a great
have
night,
fun
Cam.
as always. You guys have fun, and everybody be good. Have a good weekend.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have a good night.
And I say, how the
Sir.
hell does it work that you can't find your way off a stage? How does that work? But he can't. Joe Biden is surrendering our auto industry to China, just like he surrendered our borders to the cartels and he surrendered Afghanistan in the most embarrassing week, day, time period in the history of our country. He surrendered to the Taliban, took the military out first. You don't take the military, you take the military out last. So tell your UAW leadership, no problems with them, but they have to endorse Trump, because if they don't, all they're doing is committing suicide. And honestly, you don't want that to happen, because they're committing suicide on the back of your jobs, and you can't let that happen. The Democrats, as they wave the white flag of surrender over your future to other foreign countries, you can't have it done. So if you could speak to Sean, he's listening right now, I'm sure. Sean, endorse Trump, and you can take a nice 2-month vacation, come back, and you guys are going to be better than you ever were. You don't even have to worry. Because the other way, you won't have a vacation, Sean. And in a short period of time, you're not going to have a union. You're not going to have jobs. You're not going to have anything. You have the strongest you've ever had. You're going to do great. You're going to do great. And it's so easy. It's common sense. Again, it's common sense. But unlike them, I will never surrender. I'll never surrender for you. And the American worker never surrenders either. Never. But you need leadership. You know, it's nice to say you never surrender, but you need direction and you need leadership. Crooked Joe puts China first, Mexico first, Ukraine first, Europe first, Asia first, illegal aliens first, environmental lunatics first, puts everyone else first. But he puts America last. He puts our workers last. He puts the UAW last. He puts our industries last. He puts your families last. He puts everything. He does put your children last, yeah. When you think of it, they should be at the top of your list. Thank you very much. I'm going to use that. Do you mind if I use that from now on? Who said that? That was very good. He puts your children last. That's going at the top of my list.
Not wrong.
He puts everything that's good last. Mine is slightly different. I put America first every single time. So let me say to every UAW member and skilled workers all across our nation, Joe Biden, the Democrat Party, and their political cronies, cease to serve your interests a long time ago. They don't care about you. I mean, he came here yesterday. What did he have? 9 people, right? 9. You have 9,000 people outside. He had nine people. And that's because they didn't know we were coming. They didn't even know we were coming. They just found out. In reality, they don't represent you. They represent a deep state bureaucracy, a global financial class, and a political class that have taken control of this country for their own enrichment and self-purposes, stealing your wealth and stealing your labor while shipping off our best and brightest to die in expensive, exotic, foreign wars in countries that you've never even heard of. And just like you're fighting for your rights and your American dream, I'm fighting for my rights and fighting for my freedom against the coordinated, corrupt, very politicized forces of evil. I've never seen anything like it. It's weaponized justice. We have a weaponized justice system. I want to indict, think of this, I want to indict my political opponent. He's beating me. We got to indict him. I think, you know, that works two ways, because when the next one gets in, let's hope that's me. And I'm sure I'd never do a thing like that. I would not do it. But you have an opponent and you say, let's indict him. And because people know me so well, we know each other very well, my ratings and my approval numbers went up. I'm the only person that ever got indicted where my numbers went up. It's so weird. That's because you know me. I didn't take a salary. I worked my ass off. And we did a phenomenal job. We did a phenomenal job for this country. But for the first time ever, I never thought they indict their political opponent. And what that does is it sets off a chain of events that's very dangerous in future years. It could happen to them very easily. The reason Crooked Joe and his thugs are trying so hard to stop me is that in my first term, I disrupted all of it. Oh, did I disrupt? That was called major disruption. And in my second term, we're sort of having now, but I don't want the results, right? It's a disaster for this country.
I like that.
Worst president, think of it, there's never been a president like this. I say that you could take the 5 worst presidents in history, add them up, and he's done a worse job.
We all know he's the president.
Now I'm changing it. I think I can make it to 10 because nobody, you look at our border, you look at everything, you look at our woke military. I defeated ISIS. Our military was so great. I rebuilt it. But you look at what's happening in this country, it's horrible. But in my second term, we'll finish the job and we'll get rid of the cheaters, the liars, the scammers, and the criminals. They'll lose their grip.
We'll see. He promised that last time.
Yeah.
So if you want to save your livelihood,
Drain the swamp,
then you need to send a message and join the ultimate strike against the globalist class by casting your vote for a gentleman known as Donald J. Trump in the most important election of our lifetime. I believe.
But honestly, you really don't have a choice at this point.
But he was in his defense, he was naive when he got the Republican nomination, became president. He assumed that I'm the president. Let's do this. No, so he has to clean the Republican House as well from all these rhinos that want war and corruption.
We have a potential disaster with Taiwan, China, that would have never happened if it happens. But boy, they are circling. I'll tell you, they want it so badly. And they saw what happened in Afghanistan. They saw what happened with the Taliban. And they say the people they have there now are grossly incompetent. Putin would have never done it. President Xi would have never done it with me. We talked about things, a lot of things.
That's facts.
Would have never done it.
Mm-hmm.
He's said in interviews he didn't invade Ukraine when Trump was in office because he could not predict what he would do in response.
He would have had $40 a barrel oil, and at $40, he could not have prosecuted the war. But at $115, he made a fortune and makes a fortune with the war. It's up there again now. I don't know if you've been watching. It's getting up there again now. So give me 4 more years, and I will give you the end to this horrible globalism that's killing our country. I'll give you the return of the United States of America as the greatest and strongest industrial nation in the history of the world. Together, we will dismantle the corrupt power structure that has feasted on the suffering of the American auto worker and the workers of any kind, not just auto workers, workers of any kind. We will cast from power the financial forces that have turned American cities into ghost towns to build skyscrapers in Beijing, China. We will wield every lever of government to defend you and to hold accountable those who have profited from the betrayal and suffering of the American factory workers. So sad to see.
Oh my God, he's so long-winded.
States, I will
Wrap
be
it
your
up, Trumpy.
I will be your advocate,
Yeah.
and I will be your greatest champion, the greatest champion.
Yeah, I think he's trying to bring it in for a landing.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, really.
On day one, I will terminate Joe Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and I will cancel every job-killing regulation that is crushing American auto workers. I will unleash a thing called American energy, stop the ban on the internal combustion engine, and we will drill, baby, drill, and we will make zero environmental difference. It will have zero environmental difference, zero. In fact, if anything, it's probably cleaner than what they're doing. But it'll save your family a yearly fortune and give you a much better way of life. You're losing your way of life. I will then go to every foreign country where we're paying billions and billions of dollars for their military defense, as I was doing before, and tell them that if they do not massively increase their purchases of Ford, Chevys, GMs, and Jeeps, our troops are packing up and we're coming home. You got to buy our products. You got to buy our products. And that's going to be the least of it. And if we can afford to send hundreds of billions of dollars to Ukraine, then we can afford to have an auto industry that pays our workers a good living wage and keeps our workers working. Having a vibrant car industry is far more important than almost anything we can do for a very important thing called national security. We need a rebirth of loyalty in this country. To that end, we will bring back a very beautiful word, protection, financial protection. You're going to be protected financially while we still have the power to do it. You know, there's a run on our currency. They want to take away our currency standards. If that happens, that's the worst thing to happen maybe in our country's history. It'll put us in a much different position. But take a look at what's happening. Countries are leaving our standard. In reality, protectionism never truly went out of fashion. Our corrupt politicians just stopped protecting American jobs and workers.
Hey, Brian, I've got some restless pets. I've got to jump off here, but I have had a wonderful time, and thank you so much for allowing me on.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I'm sorry that he's going as long as he is. That I did not anticipate.
No, I'm enjoying listening to him. I've just got to jump off here.
Understand. Tracy, thanks for stopping by, and I'm going to be emailing you about another idea I've got. So,
all right, email me.
Have a good night. Will do. Have a good night.
That means protecting our workers, protecting our wages, protecting our jobs, protecting our industries, protecting our communities, and protecting our great, something you don't hear about very much anymore, a great American dream. We had an American dream. You don't hear about that with this guy. This guy walks up yesterday, looks like he's going to fall over standing in front of some people. Looks like he's going to fall over. This is not a leader. The whole world is laughing at us. They respected your leader. Whether you like your leader or not, they respected your leader. They said, we're not going to mess. We're not going to mess. Upon taking office, I will impose an across-the-board tariff on foreign-made goods. I will also pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. That means that if China or any other country makes us pay a 100 or 200 or 300% tariff or tax, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff of 100, 200, or 300%. What could be more fair? Right? What could be more fair? I will revoke China's most favored nation. Can you believe they have a most favored nation status? Because they say we are a developing nation. Well, we're a developing nation too. When you look at our cities, we're developing. We're developing in the wrong way. They are doing the worst job. Democrat mayors, Democrat governors, and we will impose stiff penalties on China and other trade abusers. Foreign auto parts manufacturing will be among our first targets. We're going to bring it home from China and other foreign countries on a very grand scale. That's you, McGee. All right? That's you. And because we want all Americans to win and win big from these policies, we will insist that as tariffs on foreign countries go up, because they tariff us crazily, and then we have these stupid people, some congressmen, some senators that say, no, sir, we shouldn't tariff them, but they're tariffing us. Doesn't matter, sir, it's free trade. I say, is this guy okay? But when those foreign countries tariff us, taxes on American workers, which is really what it is, small businesses and middle-class families, we will be doing the same to them, and you will watch things happen that you won't even believe. For one thing, you're going to bring back jobs at levels. You know, China, they put a big tax on us when we sell a car, a truck, or anything. And they say to the American companies, we don't want your trucks from America. Come over and build a plant over here. So they're building plants all over China. How stupid is it? We should do the same thing. And we started doing the same thing, and we were doing the same thing. I gave you the largest tax cut in the history of our country, larger than the Reagan tax cut. And we'll do it again. We'll deliver tax cuts, the likes of which you've never seen before. You will do better, make more money, and have a more secure job than you've ever had before. Best of all, they will be fully paid for by outsourcers and foreign producers who will be paying trillions and trillions of dollars into our treasury for the privilege of doing business in the United States of America. Isn't that nice? Going to get rid of a big portion of our deficit, too. We're going to tariff and tax them, and you, the American worker, will be the primary beneficiary. And in conclusion, I don't need to tell anyone in this room what the globalists and trade abusers did to the people of Michigan. You've seen the lives wrecked. You've seen your family destroyed. In many cases, the families have been shattered and the communities battered, brutalized, destroyed economically and by crime. But my message to you tonight is that Michigan's abuse under Joe Biden will end, and I will take you to new heights never dreamed of before, never even dreamed of. The Wall Street predators, the Chinese cheaters, and the corrupt politicians have hurt you. I will make you better. Very simple. I will make you better. For years, foreign nations have looted and plundered your hopes, your dreams, and your heritage, and now they're going to pay for what they have stolen and what they have done to you, my friends. We're going to do it together. We're going to take their money. We're going to take their factories. We're going to rebuild the industrial bedrock of this country like it used to be many, many decades ago. By the time this battle is over, the rusted out factories will not be here in Michigan. They'll be in Beijing, Shanghai, and other parts of the world. Taking it back. We're taking it back.
That's a nice touch.
And it won't be hard. The gleaming new buildings and roaring production lines will be built in Lansing and Flint and Sterling Heights and Grand Rapids and Pontiac, Dearborn, and Detroit. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been preparing my entire life for this battle. We did such a great job 4 years ago. We were unfairly interrupted. Let's be nice about it. We were very unfairly interrupted. But in many ways, this is better because we've seen what a bad job they have shown us, what a horrible job they do. And we'll be able to do things that nobody would have thought possible. And people won't be complaining even a little bit, because between crime and all of the jobs that have been stolen from us and all of the factories that have been closing, all of the bad things that have been happening with Afghanistan and with Ukraine and with everything, people will say, wow, we want these changes to be made. We want these changes to be made very, very quickly. Just 3 years ago, we had a great economy and the strongest borders in our country's history. We had the best, strongest in our history. We were energy independent, soon to be dominant. We had no inflation. We had a rebuilt. I rebuilt the entire military, United States.
Come on, Trumpy. Come on.
Come on.
We gave
bring it home.
$80
I heard the words in
billion
conclusion earlier.
He's repeating himself.
brand new tanks and planes and goggles, and 700,000 guns and rifles, 70,000. You make cars. Who has a used car lot with 70,000? And these are nobody. If you have 500 cars, they tell me that's a lot. You have 70,000, and these are armor plated in many cases. These cost millions of dollars a piece. Many cases. We gave them 70,000. Do you know that Afghanistan is one of the largest sellers of weapons in the world right now? Can you believe it? They're selling all of this stuff that these guys just gave them. How stupid are we? How stupid are we to allow that? We were getting out. I was the one that got it down. We were going to keep Bagram, the airbase, because it's right next to where China, forget about Afghanistan, where China makes their missiles, nuclear missiles. It's 1 hour away. We were going to keep that. They ran from it. They ran from it. They left it. They left the lights on. They left the dogs, by the way, for those people that like the dogs. It's a big question. They left the dogs. But we were going to keep that. We were going to do a job, and we were going to be out. We were getting out with real dignity and strength. We weren't going to lose those 13 incredible souls that I met the parents and family the other night. They're incredible people. They're so devastated. They don't talk about the 38 people that were literally no arms, no legs, the faces blown to pieces, and the hundreds of other people that died, all unnecessarily. Wouldn't have happened. You know, I spoke to Abdul, the head of the Taliban. We had a rough conversation. I said, listen, Abdul, don't kill any of our people anymore. You kill any of our people, we're going to hit you harder than anybody's ever been hit. And he said, but why do you send me a picture of my home? I said, you'll have to figure that out. You'll have to figure that one out. You're going to have to figure that one out. But you know what? After that, for 18 months, not one soldier was killed in our country. They were sniping them and killing them. And he's still there. He's in charge. Can you imagine the feeling when they said, Abdul, the Americans have left. The soldiers are gone. He said, no, they would never do that. Only stupid people would do that. No, the soldiers have gone. Before we took our people out, we have hundreds of people, maybe thousands, but we have hundreds of people that are American citizens that are still there. We took the soldiers out first. That was the problem. And they should have used Bagram as their place because you had tremendous area. It wouldn't have been that disaster that you witnessed with the planes going up. Remember when Biden said, we'll never have a Vietnam with the helicopters going up? Well, this was worse. This was a plane going up with people hanging all over the plane and falling from 3,000 feet in the sky. That's 3 times the height of the Empire State Building, by the way. Russia was not going into Ukraine. China was not going into Taiwan. We had our enemies in full retreat. They respected us all over the world. We were respected. Now we're laughed at as a country. And now we're coming back to do it all over again. And I promise you this, with me as your president, our opponents will lose and our American workers will be the biggest winner of them all. So with your help and with your vote, we will expel the globalists from our government. We will evict crooked Joe Biden from the White House. We will put America and our workers first. We're going to put them first. And we will do something that's very, very special that I've been saying for a long time, and we had it going at a level that nobody ever thought possible. We will make America great again. So thank you. God bless you, Michigan, and God bless you, auto workers, and God bless America. God bless everybody in this room. Thank you all very much. So nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And with
Woo,
that, ladies
Trumpy.
and gentlemen, oh, yes, that speech ran longer than I was expecting. But okay,
Well,
if you're joining us now, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. This is Reuben Christopher Haynes, Brentley from Dangerous Rhetoric. We had Cam from Flagrant Triggers and Tracy from Keto Krime. Unfortunately, had to leave a little bit early. For everybody who's stuck around so far, thank you very much. And I should have anticipated that Trump might run a little long. Didn't think
well,
it was gonna run
he
that
was
long.
trying to coordinate because again the debate started 21 minutes ago. It started at 8, so that's why I think.
True.
I think
Very
I
true.
assume.
Very true. So I tell you what, before I get my commentary on it, as you are the guest, I'm going to throw it to you guys. Speech ran about an hour 20, which it's a combination. And this is the thing about Trump. He's good off the chain. He's good on a teleprompter. I don't know if you can equally say he's good when you put both of them together, but that's just my personal criticism. But gentlemen, I'm going to open up the floor to you. And what were your observations? What were your takeaways?
Go ahead, Reuben.
Oh, okay. Very, very briefly, everything that we talked about before. He mentioned the idea of being a everyman, being there with the workers. But again, it goes toward history. He was there. He's been with workers. You've seen the video. I've seen videos from the 80s and the 90s where he's on the set, on the construction site. He knows these workers. He deals with them all the time. And it comes through as a genuine comment. And again, it has an ego, and that's fine, but then again, that's the thing is that's Trump. I would rather him tell the truth. I go back to the whole Dave Chappelle commentary he did on SNL. Trump will just tell you the truth. He'll tell you what he's going to do, and he's going to do it, and he's accomplished everything. And everything he stated there is not unlike he said when he ran in 2016. So he's saying the right things. And again, he says it's 4D chess. The only reason why it was long is because he wanted to, because he could have ended this within 45 minutes, but he had to drag it out because of the situation with the debate. And basically the whole idea that, and you now have people who are watching the Trump, not us, watching Trump, are now switching over to the debate, and they can just see the contrast in the difference in the tone. Polished, unpolished, raw, stale, in my opinion. But that's basically it.
Now
he dropped but he dropped every a lot of things he dropped. He accused Biden of treason, of different things that are all going to be snippets that they're going to twist around tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Well, I will say one thing in response to that. Let's not sell ourselves short. Let's be perfectly honest. We may be the 5 most insightful yet insane commentators on social media who are watching the speech tonight. And daggone it, if you're not watching this, what in the world's the matter with you? Because you're missing out on one of the best parties in the whole of the internet. So there you go. Brentley, I'll throw it over to you. What did you think of the speech? What were your observations, etc.?
He was funny, as usual. Like, I enjoyed the beginning part. He went long. He sort of meandered in the middle. There was a lot of mention of facts and figures and percentages that I don't think really would have landed. I mean, I didn't really resonate with any of it, so I can't imagine that average Americans would. But it sounded good, so maybe that was enough. I don't know. I thought it was generally good. I liked his little pointed comments, crooked Joe Biden, Ron DeSanctimonious. He got all his little nicknames in there, which he is, famous for. Mm-hmm. I'm not a big speech guy, so it was good in that he hit all the points and he tactically got himself, positioned to contrast with the GOP primary debate. But yeah, I got a little bored. I was like, this is long.
Yeah,
my
agree.
attention span does not work well for things like that.
I understand completely. For my part, the one thing that I found interesting, and he kept coming back to it, is he tried to redefine the terms of the debate for the strike. And the thing, he kept saying, he kept coming back to, why the hell is everybody worried about what the hourly wage is if in 2 to 3 years you're not going to have a job? And what it was probably, from my perspective, probably one of the most brutally honest comments that you could make to the union membership. Not its leadership, it's the membership, because to me, that speech, he's trying to get to the membership. He made the observation, UAW should endorse Trump. Are they going to? I don't know, but you ought to tell them to. But the one he kept coming back to, what difference does the hourly wage make if you're not going to have a job in 2 to 3 years? In other words, he's trying to get the union membership to understand, hey, if we don't fight, the agenda that's going on right now that's so adversely affecting your union, it's not going to matter what you guys try to negotiate for yourselves on behalf of the union. You're not going to have a job to worry about an hourly wage anyway. So I thought that was one really interesting aspect of it. There was one other, I mean, there's a bunch of notes I've got scribbled down here amongst other hieroglyphics on this paper. But the one thing I thought that was very much of a contrast when he's dropping the line about they're putting your country last, they're putting your union last, and someone from the crowd yells, and they're putting our children last. And then Trump dropped the line in, and he said, "Who said that? I'm going to use that." Does anybody think Joe Biden would have the mental or linguistic agility to pull that off in the middle of his speech?
No.
I mean, and I'm not trying to suck up to Trump here. I'm really not. But I mean, to me,
unless Joe Biden is faking it.
Well, you're not the only ones to observe that. Miranda Devine of the New York Post, she's starting to come to that conclusion. I've heard her mention
He is
this.
a psychopath. Yeah. I am convinced he is born and bred, actual blue-blooded psychopath. And they are cunning, and they're really good mimics, and they're really good actors, and they can fake emotion, and they get off on it. So, and it's also one way he can get around culpability for any sort of legal shenanigans that he's been involved with, or answer any questions regarding them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It could be like Kaiser Soze, Joe Biden's he's stumbling down the stairs, but actually he's perfectly fine and agile and healthy. I don't know.
No, I mean, look, you might very well be right. I mean, when you've got a dog, and this is true. I was watching the news today when I was working out at the gym, and they reported on the fact that Biden's dog, who's got the name Commander, has now bitten someone for the 8th time, either this year or
11th,
over the past.
I think.
At 11th time this year.
2-year-old dog.
Yeah, and Brentley, I mean, you make the point, Biden's a psychopath. I mean, I don't know how I'd use that terminology for him. To me, he's a wrinkly, mean-spirited, snide SOB street thug. And the proof of that is the dog. Now, everyone out there who's watching this is saying, well, what difference does a dog make? Why does that prove your point? Let me ask you a question. Would you, if you weren't a wrinkly, mean-spirited SOB who's a street thug, would you keep that kind of a dog around? Of course not. That dog is representative of your personality. That's why you keep that kind of a dog around. So the fact that Biden's letting this dog stay around, even though everybody knows that dog is biting people, especially Secret Service agents, ought to speak a whole lot to the character of the owner of the dog. But that's just me.
But you're not wrong. I say the same thing. If you want to know the character of a man, look at his children. Period.
Mm-hmm.
Apple don't fall far from the tree.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah,
that's the thing. That's
also let's recount. Ashley Biden had drug problems and had detailed sexual improprieties from Joe Biden
in her
diary.
That they first claimed was fake.
No, she admitted that it's on tape.
I know.
That was hers.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm just saying for the people out there.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
And then on top of that, Hunter Biden also, not doing so hot, drug addict, possible trafficking of women. This is the whole thing about the legal situation too against Hunter Biden. It's only the most bare surface level charges, a gun charge and some tax charges, when they could be possibly looking at him for human trafficking. For possibly even with minors. I mean, I'm not sure what's on that hard drive, but the FBI knows, and they've known for years. And if anything, the whistleblowers that have come out lately have shown is that the FBI has known a lot of shit for years and just
and they won't do anything with it. I mean,
not
I think
said
John.
a word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
not
John stopped
anybody. Yeah,
I think if I was reading correctly, John Solomon from Just the News was reporting. He's got new reporting out today that there are now people coming forward who are specifically saying that there were certain charges they wanted to pursue on Hunter Biden, and were specifically told, you stand down, you don't get near this.
Yeah, that was the
I mean,
campaign finance stuff. So that's
yeah.
like the news story that just came out. They revealed that Gary Shapley, who was the IRS whistleblower,
Yep.
he gave closed door sealed testimony, but they unsealed it, saying that they blocked them from investigating any campaign finance crimes. And they were blocked at like multiple levels, like senior leadership at the FBI, as well as like multiple federal prosecutors. And they all thought it was really strange that they like all just agreed to block this line of investigation. And they thought it was so strange that they like wrote a letter and
Yeah.
signed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my whole concern is we're dealing with focus on one person, and that's what the complex, I would say, it's not just military industrial. Every complex wants. They want you to focus on the distraction. So Biden is a distraction completely.
Yeah.
And that's all.
Totally.
And then and so and again, here's the one thing that I'll just say that's honest that I don't want. The pendulum is going left. It's still going left. Unfortunately, it's going to go a hard right, and I don't want it to do that either. And basically, the whole idea, not the whole USA, but the whole idea that if someone attacks America, we're going to strike back. I don't want that either, in the sense that I don't want a prolonged war. I don't want another 9/11, then going to war, and then basically again $4 trillion was spent. I think it was $4 trillion out there in the Gulf War, and that's again it's not. It went somewhere. It was transferred. It's money laundering, 100%. So that's why I don't want that either. So basically, I want full disclosure. That is why I'm doing whatever I can when it comes to data, to look at the real data. Because again, not only Cambridge, what is it? What was that thing? There's a message here. Cambridge Analytics.
Yeah.
It's done with the entire complex. They did it inside Twitter. They did it inside Facebook. The CIA's been doing it. The FBI's been doing it. Everyone's doing it. I just want it exposed, and it's the one man, one vote thing, not this whole mail-in thing. It's again, 2024 is going to be wild. We have no idea what's going to happen. It's going to be wild. So just keep your eyes open.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And again, if you just happen to be stopping by, and I really can't believe you're just stopping by, because with this kind of intellectual firepower all gathered in one place, you should have been watching from the beginning. My name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. We're here with Brentley from Dangerous Rhetoric, Reuben Christopher Haynes. We've been watching and now commenting on Trump's speech to the UAW in Detroit. Another aspect that I found particularly interesting is everybody has had a criticism of Trump, and sometimes it's very legitimate. So I'm not saying people are wrong, but that is, Trump's just, his grievances, and he's been doing so for 3.5 years. The other thing I found very interesting about this speech, he kept tying it in to Detroit. In other words, if you vote for me, here's the economic benefit. If you vote for me, here's what I do for the union. If you vote for me, this is what it means for Detroit. This is what it means for Sterling, for Pontiac, for all the cities in Michigan.
That's standard poly speech,
True.
trope,
but I'll give you that. But there are moments when Trump is not good at it. I mean, the criticism that says that all he's doing is just griping about his problems and not laying forth a vision, I think is legitimate. I think tonight, maybe in one of the better moments in the campaign so far for him, where he actually said, here's the vision that I want. Here's what I want to do. Here's the contrast to what you got right now. But that, again, that's just my observation on it. Thoughts?
I think that's fair. We'll see, if he, like the thing with Trump though, is like, he talks a good talk. Like,
yeah, agreed.
Do I believe him? Maybe like about half of what he says, I think, but also like, I don't know. He made he did like that, like the bringing it local is like a very standard and classic trope going back like at least a century. So whenever you're like talking to a state, you like, you bring it local. You mentioned something having to do with the local industry. He was talking to the auto, so it was a lot about the auto industry and stuff, and that made sense. But also like, he went and he like mentioned like all the different cities in the state, and how they were going to improve it for them. And it's just like, it was, to me, it just, I'm like, cliche.
Yeah, but he hit it. That's the whole. He did that. But again, here's the difference. If not, I'm not going to say the same words, but if let's say Nikki Haley gave a speech similar to this in the same area, covered the same things that you say, the whole cliched aspects, it would be more cliche because she's delivering it. He had a sense of, I've been here, I've done that, and then going by telling about what he's done. Biden wouldn't even remember where he is if he gave the speech.
Right.
So that's the contrast. You basically want the ultimate showman who will tell you what you want to hear, but because he's been through it, or somebody who's just mimicking, or someone who's completely clueless. Again, that's the whole idea. That's where we are. But again, but again, he now knows it's not about, I'm the president, I can do this. No, it's about, let's work together to get things done. And he already knows on whoever has an R on in Congress, who they're not for him. So he already knows who he has to go around to get, because there are very few people out there that he can trust.
Fair.
True. Very fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting going forward, because I'm like you, Reuben. It's like when I'm in a position where things are going really good, that's when I start getting nervous. And if I were Trump's people and Trump, okay, yeah, you've got some kind of a lead right now nationally. I have no idea what that is, although I think you've got momentum. And then all of a sudden, this judge up in New York yesterday rules without benefit of a trial, without benefit of a jury, without benefit of whatever else. Oh yeah, by the way, you defrauded a bunch of banks, and you're guilty. And they just dropped it. On the same day, we're finding out about wire transfers that went to Hunter Biden, but wound up using Joe Biden's address in Delaware as the recipient address of the wires, while Hunter's living out in California.
Ooh.
So,
but that's the whole
yeah.
point. That's the point. Yeah. If you basically say, "Oh my God, there's something about Trump. What did Biden do?" That's the correlation.
Yeah. This next 13 and a half months is going to be fascinating to watch. And, I don't know about him. I mean, I often, people ask me, why do you follow politics the way you do? I was like, well, it's either I have nothing better to do, or I have a sick fascination that I like train wrecks and watching them happen, so, the other thing and this is a social media, and I kept looking over at the counter, and I want your guys' observation on this. We talk about the power of social media in this day and age, and how it's breaking the monopoly on, the gatekeeper media, as I like to call them. At 8:26, there were 69,000 people watching just on this Rumble channel. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
At 8:45, it was up to 72,000. And at 9:15, when he about wrapped it up, it was like 83,000. Now, granted, Right Side News is one of those networks that, it is what it is, but you got to think that thousands or millions of people were watching in different venues all across the country, be it on YouTube or Newsmax or wherever the speech was being carried. And it just, it continues to amaze me how much people are searching for an alternative means to acquire information that doesn't require them to have to go through the gatekeepers at MSNBC or CNN or the big three networks or the Post or the Times. And it's just, maybe I'm being hopelessly and unrealistically optimistic about that. But, when I see those kind of numbers happening for an hour and 20-minute speech, that to me is kind of an amazing thing to observe. So, I mean, I'd really like to get your thoughts on that. Brentley?
Oh, I don't know. I think that's probably standard for where we're at now. Trump's an incredibly popular figure. He always commands media attention. It's nothing new. I don't know if I can take anything away from the fact that a lot of people were watching, because both his haters and, his admirers will watch. So granted, I guess more admirers than haters will watch. But that's the thing. People love to watch Trump to see what he's going to say so that they can hate on him. That's part of his whole branding, is just getting people to talk about him, in the media, just to pass his name along. So I'm sure they'll all be talking about it tomorrow.
Absolutely true.
Somebody will write an article contrasting, Joe Biden's appearance at the UAW on the line with Trump's speech. It's just ridiculous. I can't believe Joe even showed up for a photo op. That was just it reminded me of when Hillary Clinton did it at Pride in 2014. She's like Hillary Clinton at Pride, and she got out of a van, walked 2 blocks, got back in the van, and left. Took some pictures.
And the kicker to Biden's appearance, he's there for 12 minutes, gets back on Air Force One.
It was 12 minutes?
No, literally. It's been timed. He was there for 12 minutes, spoke into a bullhorn to however many people were there in the crowd. Trump, I think,
said a lot. Yeah, very few.
Yeah, very, very few people, 9 people there. And then when he's done, he gets back on Air Force One. What does he do next? Flies across the country to a fundraiser, I believe in California, to hobnob with, rich high donor people. But he can spend only 12 minutes with the working man. It's just mind-boggling. Reuben?
The thing is, thank you very much. The political capital changes. The social media construct has changed everything. Trump utilized Twitter. Now, Trump did go back on Twitter theoretically, that one tweet, but he has to kick up his game. He's going to whop it up. You see how it's increased. That people are watching. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? I don't know how the debate's going to do. The GOP debate's going to do in comparison to where it should be. It should be either increasing or decreasing. I want to see those numbers as well. But he has mastered the art of communication. The complex, military, industrial, media, everything is going after him. And now the government itself is going after him with all these legal mumbo jumbo, banana republics, the silliness. It still clicks. It's still action. These agencies, news agencies, media are going to clamor. It's going to only the fever pitch is going to rise, and he is going to utilize it correctly. Hopefully this time. And again, I don't know what the counter programming is going to be. And you had some of this was going on last year, in 2022 because of the election there, and it bombed hilariously because they were all called out for what they were. They were paid shills. They did all this stuff. But again, what was the outcome? It was a stalemate.
Yeah,
unfortunately. So I myself I don't follow the primaries. I don't care. I never have. It's pointless. I don't vote in anything only but the presidential. I'm very, very, very. Because again, my entire life I voted against somebody, not for somebody. The first time I voted for somebody that I believed in was Trump in 2020. I didn't even vote for him in 2016. I was too terrified that he was not going to do it. Again, for when Perot ran, I voted for him because he was the alternative to the idiots. So I'm just done with the government the way it is. And if anything, January 6, 2021 taught me is that we are so far closed as a society, doesn't see the truth. And that's very terrifying. So then again, the dark side is data can be used against. If the Twitter or social media can surge Trump, it could turn on him. But right now, everything's going positive and people say it. If you try and indict them, you throw him in jail, I'm going to vote for him because you're going against him. It's people take it personally when the government goes after somebody.
Yeah, absolutely. And up in Connecticut, I've got this up here right now. We're wondering how many people are watching the GOP debate. According to so far what she's seeing, and her observational eye is very good for this sort of thing. 43,000. So take that for what it's worth. And I think Rumble's got the exclusive streaming rights on this event, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
so for the fact they've got 43,000, yeah, that's kind of interesting to me. But I'll tell you what, it's getting on 15 till 10.
Yeah.
Let's bring it in for a landing. Brentley, where can people find you? Where can they follow what you're doing? What have you got coming up in the future? So, just let everybody know where you're at and where are the coordinates.
Where's the best place to send you? Probably dangerousrhetoric.com and Dangerous Rhetoric on the Rumble channel. We're also on Spotify. There will be a new episode coming up soon. I talked about that earlier. I'm going to try to have Harrison Coaley on and Josh Slocum talking about cluster B society and the impact of severe pathological personality disorder on the body politic and culture writ large. So that's coming up in the near future. You can also follow me on Instagram at it's Brentley, one word. I'm on TikTok too, same name. And yeah, I'm on Twitter. It's at Kapopolis, but that's probably hard to find. So you'd go to just like at Dangerous Rhet, RHET, and I'm linked on there. You can follow the podcast and the personal account. And you can follow my co-host, Daniel De La Fay. He couldn't come on tonight.
Yeah, and let me tell you something. I've been watching those TikTok videos you've been putting out. Those things are just, and I'm serious about this. Funny, informative, and they're a reflection of your very unique style. And my compliments to you, sir. They are very, very good. So yes, by all means, if you're not subscribed to this fellow on YouTube or any other place he is, what in the world's the matter with you? Get with it, doggone it. To kind of borrow from another content creators phrasing. Reuben, where are you at? What do you got going on? Where can people find you? How can they help you? Go.
Sure. Basically, I'm on Twitter. I have my own got my main account back, Reuben Haynes. I do have my account on Substack. It's my conjecture. Essentially, what I'm starting to do, and I've been thrown off because of my illness, is the idea like start to tackle the windmills that are or misconceptions of the common convenient wisdom that people have regarding what they believe in. And I want to take down those giants and expose them for what they are. They're doing a lot of bad things, and I basically am building my stuff up to have real data analytics following the election from a very open point of view to see what's going on here. But I myself, being a consultant, that I'm doing, I'm starting a new consultancy agency to help out with people, not only businesses but the person, just doing what Trump did. Forget about the corporation and work on the individual, because again, the alternate economy is very important for America. Follow me on Twitter, Rumble, Instagram, all over. Reuben Christopher Haynes. You can find me anywhere. Thank you.
All right. No, you guys have been fantastic. And again, I want to thank both of you and Cam from Flagrant Triggers and Tracy from Keto Krime for being here tonight. You guys are, like I said, and I'm not saying this is a suck up line. I genuinely mean it. Everybody who's here tonight, I think, brings a lot of insight to the table. I think they bring a lot of observation to the table on personal experience and just very, very smart group of commentators. It's been my absolute pleasure to share the stream with you guys tonight. And, let's do this again sometime. Cam kind of gave me an idea off camera, and I want to roll it around with him and a few other people, because I think we could turn this thing into like the internet's best version of the McLaughlin group. But that kind of goes, yeah, Brentley's too young to know what that one is, but we'll talk about that some other time. Yeah, right over the head. Don't worry, Brent. No, I know. Well, he's the one making the motion. I'm just,
Well, I was about to say, if you, I'm not going to get my giving away, but I'm
also not in music either.
Holden Watson. Just gonna throw something around.
Okay. Anyway, my name is Brian Trippett. I'm the Front Porch Conservative. Please subscribe to my channels on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Twitter and a few other places. I do videos usually 3 or 4 days a week, and a live stream on Saturday morning at 10:30 Eastern, and I'll be doing that again this Saturday. So for everybody who's been here tonight, thank you for hanging out with us as we watch the speech and give some commentary on it. Fellas, hang around. We'll say some proper goodbyes. And folks, thank you very much. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.